Good evening, I am Sunil Sharma and I am presenting on the topic Capturing Knowledge Transfer using ZACHMAN Framework in Bioinspired Design Process. This is the outline that I am going to discuss: motivation and objectives, introduction, background, methodology, applications, limitations, and conclusion. The motivation of this research is that knowledge collection and compilation process in bioinspired design has not been focused in the past. The overall objective is to organize and represent captured knowledge using different processes like transfer, building, and representing in bioinspired design using ZACHMAN framework. The sub-objectives include to establish an appropriate work configurations and links between systems and actors in bioinspired design, and to recognize stakeholders and their specialized tasks in bioinspired design organization. ZACHMAN framework has been used in the past to model an organization, information, and knowledge architecture. 36 categories are present in the ZACHMAN framework, which can completely specify complex objects like manufactured products, structures, and enterprises. It looks like a product table that exhibits processes for information, enterprise, and architecture. In this figure, we can see the ZACHMAN framework for an enterprise. The abstractions are the columns and the perspectives are the rows. Various sectors are defined like planner, owner, designer, builder, subcontractor, and enterprise. And the attributes are defined as entities, activities, people, locations, time, motivation based upon what, how, who, where, when, and why. So in order to populate this ZACHMAN framework, we need to define each cell. Each cell is an intersection of a particular row and a column. For example, this first cell A1 is intersection of row A and column 1. A2 is intersection of row A and column 2. A3 is intersection of row A and column 3, and so on. So in order to define this ZACHMAN framework or to populate the cells, we can take up one actor and completely define its all activities. For example, uh, for row A, the activities can be defined for entities, activities, people, location, time, and motivation, and likewise for other rows. ZACHMAN framework has been used in the past to represent US government's infrastructure protection plan as diagnosis model in decision making in businesses, in academic environments, in digital library representation, to analyze sustainability standards in reverse engineering and integrated with the other knowledge management frameworks as well. It is also used to define knowledge management architecture in an enterprise. For this research, the following methodology has been adopted. We first understand ZACHMAN framework, and the next step we identify various stakeholders in bioinspired design organization. We decompose organizational hierarchy for individual roles of each cell, and then we revise the proposed ZACHMAN framework. In order to understand the ZACHMAN framework, we need to understand the row and the columns. So row definition perspectives, they can be defined on various sectors, namely planner, owner, designer, builder, subcontractor, user, and its perspectives or their roles. Column definitions, they remain intact. What, how, where, who, when, and why, which represent data, function, network, people, time, motivation, respectively. Step 2 is identification of stakeholders in the bioinspired design organization, where different actors are knowledge planner, compiler, builder, tool selector, knowledge transposer, and designer, and their respective roles. The column definitions, they remain same. or intact. So we develop a proposed framework based upon the new actors and their proposed roles like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, and so on. Here we can again see A1 is intersection of row A, column 1, A2 is intersection of row A, column 2, and so on. So in order to populate this ZACHMAN framework, we need to fill up all the details of cell A1 to F6, which is again 36 categories of this ZACHMAN framework. So we populate this ZACHMAN framework using the organizational hierarchy for bioinspired design organization. We give the indicative details of each role of the actor. For example, planner, our knowledge planner has got these roles A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, and what are the roles specifically in each cell. So in this way, we can complete this ZACHMAN framework. Step 4 includes the revision of the proposed ZACHMAN framework, where cells can be further described in great detail. Uh, Developed ZACHMAN framework is only indicative and it's not exhaustive. Diagrams, text tools can also be used for detailing each cell. Typical applications of this ZACHMAN framework, they include improving design communication within bioinspired design organization that can lead to efficient knowledge management. Framework can also be integrated with data management systems to support knowledge management. It can be helpful in planning and managing design projects. It can be integrated with other framework works such as the open group architectural framework for organizational representation and management. Knowledge pathways can be tracked easily using digital representation of this framework. Typical limitations of this framework, they include that we represent organizational structure using ZACHMAN framework and understand that actual practice can differ from what is described in this research. This framework is structural and it does not specify any method to develop the framework itself. We have not formally tested ZACHMAN framework in the bioinspired design organization setting. This detailed framework can also be developed using software, but is often complex and rigorous, and this framework is difficult to use. Here are the conclusions. We have examined ZACHMAN framework for organizational representation of bioinspired design or knowledge transfer process. We have identified different stakeholders for knowledge transfer in bioinspired design process. We have populated role of these stakeholders to define their attributes. Over a comprehensive perspective of bioinspired design, knowledge capture and representation using ZACHMAN framework has also been provided. These are the references which we have used in this research. I thank you all for your patience. I'm open to the questions now.